Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope you can hear me fine. I think so. And I also got Twist with me. Thank you, Twist, for coming again. How are you?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
I'm very good.
Good,
Sorry
good.
for being late, guys. I was finishing my lunch. A bit late, but
We can let you off, Mega, because you work hard.
yes, exactly. So, we already have a few questions, which is good, but I don't see anybody typing. So, let's see if anybody's here. I see someone typing now. Kirky. Thank you, Steven, for providing the live sessions where we talked about us. I thought those were also listed on the quick start guide, but I'll double check. So, Twist, what's going on? Tell me about your week.
Yeah, it's been good, man. I was talking to M7 the other day about how my eyes have just started to see things on the charts that 6 months, 3 months ago I'd never have seen. It's quite extraordinary. Like you put the work in, and all of a sudden stuff starts to click in your mind. And I suppose it's the same as going to the gym and putting reps in. Eventually you'll start to see a change in the way that you look. And I suppose this is no different. You put the reps in on the charts, so to speak, and your eyes start to train to see things that over time you don't necessarily think you're picking up, but obviously you see repetitions and patterns and the way that price moves around the DR levels and stuff. So yeah, I was telling you, it's like once you see it, you can't see it. So once you see it, you can't not see it, should I say?
Yeah.
It's hard to sort of forget it after it's clicked. So yeah, just this week has just been a little bit more clarity in terms of sort of seeing price better, and taking better trades, sort of knowing when to not take trades,
Yeah.
anticipating false days like I did on NQ today,
Mhm.
and just putting everything that I've learned in the last 6 months sort of together. It's good, but still a long way to go though.
Yep.
As
Yep.
you know, I'm only 6 months in trading, and never done it before. So
Well,
I've got a lot to learn.
look, DR Mind, I always try to remember everybody, maybe it's not a long way to go, like, I mean, if you tell yourself that it's still a long way to go, then it's going to take a long way, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Maybe it doesn't need to take a long way. I mean, of course, if you do the work, and that's a big if, right? And not for you, but for a lot of the people, it takes so long because you keep telling yourself that it's going to take long, but in the
yeah,
meantime you're not doing the work to get there, right?
not 100%. Yeah. Um,
But I
so
know
yeah,
you're working your ass off, so
yeah. Well, I kind of got no choice, right?
yeah.
I gave up. I mean, in the UK, I mean, I don't know, salary wise in the UK, I kind of like to think that anything over 100 grand a year is good.
Yeah.
When you're working, in the matrix, so to speak. So I came from a background of head of business for Audi. So I looked after the UK sales in the north for Audi UK. Looking after a sales team, admin, service, parts. It was a highly responsible job as far as I was concerned, and it paid well. So for me to give that up and walk away to have nothing,
Yeah.
I kind of need to put my all into it, because I made the decision that I was to burn all my ships were going to be burnt. So there was no way back. There was no way back for me to go into normal work ever again. And that's how I sort of perceived it in my mind, that, you know, that was where I wanted to be in terms of, you know, how I was going to put myself into something. But at the time, right, I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, I gave up work last year, way before Master was even introduced to us, and I never knew it existed.
Mhm.
So I didn't really know what it was I wanted to do. But, you know, I've told this story before, that as much as I was, you know, yes, I was paid well, you know, and friends and stuff thought I was mad leaving. My rationale behind it was, every day that I was sat at that desk in that office, I was making one, the owner of the business's dreams come true, because I knew the holidays he went on, I knew the time he had off, I knew the new watches he wore and stuff, and it was almost like it was flaunting what I was doing or what my sales team was doing in order to push his dreams to reality. But not only that, I kind of knew that there was I mean, we work with data and stats, right, and probability. So there was 100% guarantee, probability, 100% that whilst I was sat at that desk, I would never ever make my dreams come true. I'd never, and that doesn't necessarily mean monetary wise. It meant freedom, stress, you know, all the things that come with working a 9 till 5. You know, not being able than sitting in a job there where there was 100% chance it had never happened. So that was the decision I made, and literally, no word of a lie, I walked out. I just left, and that was it. I gave my notice in, and I never went back. I did my 30 days, and that was it. And everyone thought I was having a mental breakdown, or, you know, going through a midlife crisis, but I just knew I needed to do it. So, you know, I'm not recommending for people to go and do that, by the way. It's not, this isn't an advertisement to just go and sack your job off. It was just for me and where I was at my life. I just knew I had to take that leap of faith. But the
The
scary thing, right, is I didn't know what it was I wanted to do at that time. So there was
yeah.
6 months in between finding the academy and leaving, where I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I wanted to do or where I was going to go. I just knew I wanted to do something that involved being my own sort of leader in my life and not having to rely on somebody else to make decisions for when I can take time off, or how much I'm going to get paid, or when I'm going to get paid, and, you know, all those things that came with it. So I just sacked it off and hope for the best, really. And I just knew I wanted to do something. Like I've always known I've not been right for the 9 till 5. I just never knew what it was. And then fast forward to December, January, when, you know, the YouTube videos were dropped from Master on his free stuff. I mean, that free stuff, guys, you know, if you've not watched it, go and watch it, because it's just incredible to watch without the data. You know, we forget that when we used to first watch the back test and chill sessions on a Sunday before the academy was out, M7 was taking trades, and it was just like mind blowing how he was doing it. So it's good to watch those videos, because it just trains your eye as well. So we fast forward to those, and and that's when I knew that I wanted to sort of take up trading. But prior to that, I'd never even opened TradingView. I didn't even know what trading was. I just kind of heard people talk about it on Instagram, and, oh, come and join my Forex team and drive a Lambo and all that. That sort of stuff I can't resonate to, and I can't relate to that type of stuff. So I knew it was there, I knew it existed, but I just thought that's not really a realm that I want to delve into. But then obviously our fearless leader came in, and you know, that's just a thing of the past now. So yeah.
Yeah.
I've rabbited on a little bit long there.
No,
Sorry, apologies.
no, it's okay. It's very inspiring. Obviously, not recommended for people, but that's the fire you needed under your arse, right? Like sometimes you
Yeah,
need
yeah,
some sort of external push to drive you in the right direction. And
yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
you know what, as well, it forces the right people to stay in your life as well. So those people that are no longer in my life were the ones that were, oh, why have you done that? Oh, I think it's a bad idea. Do you not
yeah,
think, you know, you need to be doing this? And, you know, for me, I can't, you know, with no disrespect to them, I couldn't take advice from somebody that's never tried to do something other than staying a 9 till 5. You know, I would always take advice off somebody that has. I'd rather take advice off somebody that's failed 100 times in business but keeps going. I'd rather take advice off somebody like that, because that, to me, is a lot more valuable than listening to somebody that would never take that leap of faith because they're too scared to do it and never trusted in themselves. So to me, it's that safety net of staying within that realm of 9 till 5. Just, I couldn't listen to them telling me, "Oh, you've made the wrong decisions. You've made the wrong choice. Are you mad? What you're doing? Why are you doing it?" So the right people are now in my life that. Yes, you're doing the right thing. We're right behind you. Whatever happens, but you've put your all into it. Those are the types of people now that I've kind of manifested into my life as well. So it's not just about the trading aspect. It's the personal aspect as well that's flourished in terms of how your life changes, and it's quite a weird and wonderful journey to go through. It's mad, but I just knew as long as I had a plan B, this would never be plan A.
Yes.
Because I'm always got in the back of my mind, oh, well, if I fail, I've always got to go back to work. Whereas now I'm not thinking like that.
Mhm.
I just think I've got nothing to go back to. This needs to work. So yeah.
Exactly. Back to the lack of experience with trading. So obviously, you mentioned you didn't even know what trading view looks like or how it works. So
No.
how did you go about solving your problems? Because like undoubtedly, like the first time you open TradingView, you have no clue what's going on. Like I don't know how your chart looks like, but you must have tweaked with it, learned how to use it. How did you go about it when you got stuck with something? Because that's a common issue that people have here. Like they get something new is presented to them, they find issues, and then they don't know how to solve them. So how did you solve them?
I think the fortunate thing for me is I started at the academy right at the beginning, so I started on day one, and since then never missed a live. So I've never missed whatever M7 has presented to us and told us to do or told us to watch, or whether it's the lives or whether it's the frame lessons, whatever it is that he's told us to do. I've done it in chronological order. So I've never, I wouldn't have been, I don't think I'd have been finding it as, I thought I would find it more difficult by skipping things, because I think the problem is when they're all pre-recorded, I think we have that tendency to skip stuff, and maybe think, oh, well, I'll watch that later and I'll just skip on to the next video and then watch part of that and then watch another video. Whereas we didn't have that sort of luxury at that time, because everything was recorded live as it was happening. But we're in a great community in the DR, so you could always find the answer to something from somebody who is in the academy. And what I found quite unique with this, and since obviously 6 months is now I'm in my journey of trading, you come across other communities that aren't like that. They're very one man bandy. They're very, well, if you don't know, tough kind of attitude, and it's very cult minded. Whereas DR's a lot more friendly. So you can find questions to the majority of what you've got via the academy. But anything to do with like TradingView, where I wasn't sure, rather than start mithering people in Discord and sending tickets or doing whatever, YouTube's a great resource for stuff. So if I thought, well, how do I put an order on TradingView, or how do I execute a long or short on TradingView? Anything that you want to know that you don't know on trading, you can ask the question on YouTube, and you can bet 9 times out of 10 the answer will come. So I just sort of use my own initiative with that kind of thing. But I think just following from day dot what M7 was showing and what he was telling us to do has just made that process easier for me. So it's almost like I'm into bodybuilding, right? So I've done it for 20 years, and I have online coaches that sort of plan my diet, plan my training, when to eat, what to eat, how much to eat, when to train, how to train. So I'm used to having that sort of side of my life, and this has to be no different. So if M7 is saying, go and back test this and this and do it in this order, just do it. And I think if you do that and take your time with it and follow the instructions that he's giving, that makes it a lot easier. And I think the only time that you really struggle is when you're not really putting the attention into what he's saying to do. Or you don't do it, for example. So if he says backtest 100 trades and you've only backtest 10, and you're thinking, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, of course you don't know what you're doing because he's asked you to do 100 and you've only done 10. So it's almost like you've just got to do the things he's telling you to do and trust in what he's saying. That's a big thing as well, is, being able to trust the guy. I mean, yeah, it's hard at first because, it's some dude from Germany, or we have a laugh in the academy because we all say he's got a voice changer and he's from India. Well, I say he's from Bangladesh, but yeah, I say he's a salesman from Bangladesh. But it's hard, and I get that. But we're 6 months in now, and I can honestly say the guy knows his stuff, right? So if you're a week in or 2 weeks in or 3 weeks in, or you're brand new to the academy, please, when I say it, I'm not an affiliate with DR in terms of, I'm not paid to say this. The guy knows his stuff, and the stuff is mind blowing. So I can promise you that from where you are now, if you're very, very new to 6 months, the stuff will just blow your mind. It blows my mind, and I'm not even used to trading. So I could only imagine what it would be like for people who have a year or two of experience in other retail sectors of trading. How are they going to feel in 6 months' time with the stuff that he gives us? So all I'm sort of saying is trust the process and trust what he's doing, because it's another level of trading. It's another level of skill that I would never have thought that this would be possible in a retail world, because you kind of do your research afterwards, don't you? You kind of think, well, what are other people doing and how are they doing it? And then when you start to pick up stuff and you start to pick up how to trade, you can see other people and the way that they're traded. And honestly, this is like leaps and bounds ahead of what anyone's doing. It's leaps and bounds. To put it into perspective, there's a guy that I follow that's very well known in the retail community on Twitter, and I think he's around 2 or 3 hour up for the month, which is a good month for him. I did 4 hour this morning on NAS, and that took 20 minutes, if that. And I think these people think that we're talking shit half the time and it's not possible, or you're scamming, or you're talking. But honestly, it's so possible. But you've just got to put the work in, you've got to put the trust in, and you've got to start right at the beginning. You can't skip this stuff. So, if you find things difficult, ask the question and potentially just think outside the box of whether that question can be answered outside of the academy, because you'll get the answer a lot quicker.
Yes. Yeah. I think a lot of the questions we deal with on the tickets, like a lot of the time, those are things that can be Googled, or you can find on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not slapping you guys, but it's just to say this is an important quality for any successful trader. Like that's the same thing I was saying the other day on the live session. Every good trader, anyone who is good at his profession can solve his own issues by himself. He's not relying on other people to solve their own issues for themselves. Like M7 doesn't rely on other people to find out how to build Prism. He just built it himself. It's that man is insane. Literally, he literally built a Prism software himself so that he can show the developers what he wants. That's the level of dedication that he has, and the level of mastery that he has in whatever he does. It's and if you look at Mr. Beast, he's the same with YouTube. And if you look at professional athletes, they're the same in whatever they do. You need to be obsessed with what you're doing and excel at it. And that's
I think
good.
you're right, and I think the it's not a problem, but I think people are a little bit dubious, because a lot of the stuff that I mean, I certainly post on Twitter. I do get a lot of people saying I'm talking shit.
Yeah.
so I've started to post my executions, and even though I post executions, people still say, "Oh, it's not real." And I think it's not, because what he's teaching us is so far from beyond whatever has been shown in retail. It's untrue. And I think that's why people think it's just not real. Whatever you're doing is not real. So somebody questioned my stop loss on a trade that I took yesterday and said, "There's no way you would have put your stop loss there, because how would you have known? Surely you're executing trades without a stop loss in the hope that it goes in the right direction." No, and we're not. We're executing and using stop losses based on data, and that's the rationale behind why we use this. But people can't get that in their head, and I think it's almost like an invasion into the trading space, because it's almost like it's never been heard of. So if it's never been heard of, it doesn't exist, and whatever we say, it's rubbish. It doesn't exist. It's not real. But trust me, it is. It's real. And some of the stuff that we were shown yesterday were just insane. The lives were just incredible at the moment, and they're just mind blowing, and they're getting better and better and better. I'm not saying that the ones prior to that weren't, but when you get to a certain level in the academy, this stuff is it's just mind blowing. And it's good now that we've been showing it rather than at the start, because
Yes.
if I'd have been showing all this at the start, oh my God, I'd have fried my head.
Yes.
So don't think there's anything in regards to you missing out. You're not, and don't skip the stages just to get to the more exciting stuff. I mean, if you're a trader and you've been doing it for years and you can skip certain things because you know it, then fine. I get that. But if you're like me, where you didn't know your arsehole from your elbow when it comes to trading, excuse the language, but it's true, then you need to start at the very beginning. And but yeah, it's just the stuff we now get to see on a daily basis just blows your mind. It really, really does.
Let me ask a question to the audience. How many of the 21 people in the live, well, I guess 19 without me and Twist, how many of these 19 people were trading using a fixed contract size or a fixed size for whatever you do? I'm not talking about risk. I'm talking about I always buy one share, I always buy 2 shares of this instrument or 2 contracts or whatever. I'm very curious because that's, for example, that's something that you pick up by watching M7 trade, and listening to what he's teaching about risk reward, position size, risk management. Obviously, risk management is a huge part of this system, right? We're dealing with a lower win rate kind of system, but high expectancy when you win. So risk management is the bare bone of the system, and the people are not aware of it, maybe because they are used to just always take one contract or always take 100 shares. Let's give people some time and see. And at some point we also need to tackle the questions about what was asked earlier. Let me see. LP. Guys, I'm reading your messages. We're gonna get to those. Usually one contract, yes. I'm not surprised. MG. And I can tell you, we had a PhD session today, like the weekly's group PhD session, and that was another amazing session, which hopefully at some point will be shared for everybody, for all the students. But the level that you can get, it's. Let me tell you, like today during the ODR and the open of the RDR, you could have made 50R on crude. I'm not saying that you should have made 50R, but by re-engineering at the end of the session and look what happened and look at all the things that have been taught so far, and the new things that have been introduced now with the special 7 nips and their behavior, or the weekly DR levels, or if you combine all those concepts, you can take absolutely monster trades and you can make 50R in one session. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But the thing I also told the PhD students, like as much as we love watching those re-engineering sessions where we go through the price action and reconstruct how you could have taken the trade, that's really enjoyable to watch, but nothing replaces the work of you doing it for yourself. Like I told the PhD students, even after watching the session, where we were all amazed of the art of the possible, I told them, after the session is done, you have to redo the exercise yourself on the same trades. You redo it on your own screen. You print out the chart, you stick it to your wall, and you redo it, because that's the only way to learn. You don't learn by watching Netflix. Like, you cannot binge watch all the live sessions and believe that you're gonna acquire it that way. It's not gonna work that way, or it's gonna take so much longer. The fast track to this is to learn something, like hear something new, and then put it to practice yourself immediately. Just make your neurons fire together. Just build a new connection in your brain. That's how you do it. You start drawing your chart, you start doing the annotation on your chart, you print out, you watch it the next the morning after, you have a look again, and that's how you wire and fire your neurons. Let me read questions now.
LP, I saw those comments on Twitter. You handle them very well. Yeah, I mean, you got to, right? You can't. You, the old me wouldn't have. The old me would have not handled them well. But I think that's the other thing that's highly important when joining this academy is you get that mindset, that mindset course and guidance on how to improve yourself mentally. And I think something that I've neglected for a very long time. I'm very heavily into physical fitness, but mental fitness is something I've neglected. But yeah, it's something that I handle very well now, and I think it's almost like because I've just let that ego go. I think yeah. Listen, I'm 230 pounds. I'm over 103 kilos. I'm heavy, I'm big, and I think unfortunately it does come with a little bit of an ego. But I've managed to subside that a lot by changing the way I think, right? And that goes with my social media as well. And I think if you let your ego take too much control of yourself, you can become very sort of heavily dependent on external validation sometimes. And I think that can cause a very negative impact on your mindset. And you need pure clarity when it comes to trading. And I've learned that the last few months it's vitally important. So yeah, cheers for the comment. Like I do handle it well because I do get some stick. I mean, you should see my inbox. It's like it's even worse, but I just laugh it off because I'm not bothered. Like I know where I want to be in terms of what I want to do. I know I've got some great people in the academy around me. I trust it. The weird thing is, right, Megan, I don't know whether you can relate to this or not. I don't know whether you've met M7, but I've never met the guy. But I think I could trust him with everything. It's weird. It's almost like I forged a best friend and a friendship with this guy that I've never even met. It's crazy, but that's the kind of thing that I think of when these people post. I just think I'm not asked like you've got your thing to say, but I know the reality of what I'm doing every day. I sit in front of the screen, and anyone that asks me if they want to see my executions, it's not a problem. I don't care, and I just laugh it off. So yeah, I think you just gotta, it's just not gotta let stuff like that get to you. And I don't anymore. Like it's just doesn't bother me at all.
and
But yeah,
and if it ever starts to bother you, I think nobody, you don't have to be public. You just drop it, right? I mean, nobody's asking you to do this for us. I mean, obviously we are very grateful. You are one of the most vocal warriors in the academy, and we love that. But absolutely, if that is gonna be
yeah.
counterproductive for your trading, you should drop it
Oh,
immediately and just
100%. 100%. And the only person that's taught me that is M7. Like I live and breathe the DR. I live and breathe it when it comes to trading, but I'm not one of these guys that will start slagging people off because they don't trade DR, they trade, say, ICT, for example. And I see some comments from people in the academy where, there's a couple of people who do get into fights with people, and I just think, why? It's pointless. Like everyone's in the same space. I do from time to time. I make comments, but not malicious comments. The sort of jokey comments because there's a bit of a running trend when it comes to ICT and DR in terms of the jokes that we tell. But some people get really personal with it, and I just think why? Like we're all in the same space. We're all trading the same charts. Whatever I see, you're on the same chart as me. If you succeed, great. If I succeed, great. Doesn't it matter if you don't and I do and I don't and you do? No, it doesn't matter at all. But there's almost like this cult rivalry going on with some people, and I just think it's absolute craziness. Like you know, we're in such a hard space as it is. Like trading's a hard thing to do. It's really really hard, and it's even harder when you've got people that are opposing it as well. So I just think if anyone, whatever they trade, I'm not bothered. If they trade support and resistance, ICT, harmonics, whatever it is, trend traps, whatever you want to call it, if you're successful, great, because that's what I want to see. I love it when people succeed, but some people just can't get that in their head. It's almost like, if you're not doing what we're doing, you're not doing it right. And yeah, it's a weird mentality, isn't it? It's not something I've ever experienced before, other than like with football rivalry. It's like it's mega. It's
yes,
uh, it's crazy.
yes, it is a bit crazy, but we embrace it. And I mean, I'm very private, as you can see. I don't post stuff. I did at the beginning just because we were launching the academy, but I don't care about social media. I should care a little bit more, but I'm very private to myself and keep it to myself. M7 is also a very private person, really. Like I can guarantee. I
Yeah,
mean, obviously he has this social media presence because of the academy, but it's he's not a big ego guy, and he does his things. His aim is to teach 10,000 warriors how to become the most incredible traders, and he's gonna get there because I know whenever he has a goal in mind, he's gonna get there.
yeah, hundred
Absolutely.
percent. Yeah, there's no doubt about it at all. No doubt. I'll let you answer those questions,
All
Reggie.
right. So LP, three questions for today. Could you have a look at gold from yesterday ADR session, please? By yesterday, do you mean um, Monday, or do you mean this today's session? Because today started on Tuesday and ends on Wednesday, so technically it's the Wednesday ADR. So I'm not sure which one you're referring to. LP is typing. Let me carry on. So if I want to know if you were to trade using the mode time entry model, where would you get in and where would you be your TP? Give me a sec. Okay. So I'm just checking in the meantime yesterday's gold session, which corresponds with some pink limiters. That works really nice. Let me open the lens.
What was the question? Oh, there it is.
Gold futures ADR on Tuesday. We had long confirmation. Yes. 2035. Sorry, guys. Yes. Time mode was between 2045 at 21. Let me do that on the chart. Replay mode. Let's disable trip for a second. Tuesday ADR. Okay, perfect. So Tuesday ADR, we had a 2035 confirmation. Then the mode is between 2045 and 21. So let me visualize that on Drive. 2045 and 2055. So time only. Yes, perfect. So at the end of this candle, if you can see, let me zoom in. So this is where time ends, right? 2055. This is the last candle that starts at 2055 and closes at 21, right? So technically, this is the maximum retracement we are expecting based on the time mode entries. So at the start of the next candle, we enter and we put our stop. Technically, it would be like 1 or 2 tick below here, but it's very tight, as you can see. Let me see if there is anything else. Here there is also the close price, which is an important level. You will find out more about it. But anyway, this is how you enter. You put your entry here, and then the target per DR lens. 2.1 is the median. Well, so I would say, so the median is actually quite nice. 2.1, I would say 1.9 to 2. Let's see. Oh, we would actually get it here. So that would be an insane trade, like 18R. So that's how you would do your entry on this session. Is it clear? Time is over. You put your stop 2 ticks below the maximum retracement, which is at this level. Then you check your data on the lens for the extension. And in, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes, you get it. Another thing I realized, I was wondering the other day, like DR lens is such a it's such an innovative way to look at trading. Like we literally catalogized every session for the last 20 years, and you can go back and know what kind of movements to expect for the day. Isn't that crazy? Like, I know we give it for granted now because we've been working with it for 6 months, but where do you find that? Like, and I'm a bit biased because I built it, but I'm very proud of it, and it's I don't think you can find this approach anywhere else. They just tell you, oh yeah, you should use the 20 moving average, and when there is a crossover, you buy, and God knows where you put your target. It's like this is like for me is a game changer. Like knowing your targets, knowing your stops, knowing the time when to enter. But anyway, let me know, guys, what you think if you agree with my view. So this is the first question. The second question was, if the price reaches 0.5 before the mode time, does it make the setup invalid? No, not at all. Not at all. Could you show how to combine time and a retracement for the entry? Yeah, so let's see the retracement level for this session. We see a big spike 0 to 0.1, another spike 0.3, 0.3 to 0.2, then a drop off after 0.6. This is the retracement before the high, so this is the retracement you expect before you see a new high. The time mode is very beautiful, actually. You can see it's very well distributed to the left, which is what we're looking for a time entry. So time is just picture perfect here. And if you get stopped out with the next candle, you re-enter again. Second shot at the end of at 21:15, you enter again. Because this is too good. Like if you get stopped out twice in a row, it doesn't matter. You know, if you do this process 50 times, you're gonna make so much R in the long run that the two losses that you would have today, they don't matter. So when you see this kind of distribution, that's your dream time distribution. I hope everybody appreciates this. Sometimes you get like a staircase with multiple spikes. This one is as good as it gets. And the median time that says 21:15, which is here, tells you that over the last 20 years, 50% of the time, the max retracement was before this time. It's like a coin flip, whether you're gonna, you're good, whether you're gonna see the maximum retracement already at 9:15, and you still have many hours after that. It's an insane advantage to know this, because even if 50% sounds low to you, like you say, well, it's not better than a coin flip. Yes, but you know what kind of risk reward we're going for here? Like if you make 18R in a trade and you're right 50% of the time, or if you make 6R in a trade and you're right 50% of the time, you are making so much money. Like the break even point for like not lose money with a 50% win rate is 50%. Sorry, it's 1 to 1, right? So if you make one and lose one whenever you enter, then you need to be right 50% of the time. Here, you are going to be right 50% of the time, and you're making 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1. So all the extra reward that you're getting, it's all profits that stays in your pocket. I hope this is clear. Uh, uh, um. So, next question. I'm going very slow today. And I think I skipped Kirky, actually. Sorry, Kirky. So back to the chart. Kirky was asking. Let me put this picture here. I'll put it here so people can see on my screen. So this is the picture that was posted in the chat. So it was asking, Kirke was asking, backtesting frame one and mode time and check the models from a closer perspective. I think frame one doesn't include the models, but it's good that you're making a two-step process because you're going to save time. I sometimes struggle with identifying the range expansion model, trumpets, or maybe I'm confused because I read different things about it. Would you consider that still a trumpet range expansion? I would say this is not a perfect trumpet because the box here, let me make it a bit more visible. Wait, glitchy over. Anyway, okay, it's sort of bigger, yes. So I was just checking whether this box is bigger than this box, which marginally is. Obviously, is not covering the other side as well, so it's a bit imperfect. Then this box is bigger than the other two, so okay, this is a range expansion. It's not a perfect one, but if you're wondering how to precisely draw the range expansion to catch the bottoms or the tops, don't think about it that way because you're not going to be precise. So the drawing the lines, it gives you it's a mental framework for you to keep in mind. You know, we're going for a high, then we're going for a low, then we're going for a high, then we're going for a low. But you're not going to have precision. You're not going to be able. You're not using this as an entry signal. Like you're not going to say, "Oh, price just touched my line, so I need to go in and buy at the bottom." That's not how it works. So this is more of a confluence, right? You can use it as a confluence, but you don't use this as a signal. You need something else here to make you press the buy button, and this is more advanced stuff. And if you are still in frame one, you're not supposed to take trades this advanced. But anyway, I'm just answering the question, right? So and I'm telling people who are struggling with drawing the boxes, you know, maybe they're struggling because they think they can predict when price is going to turn, but that's not how it works. That's more of a framework where you know this is the model for today. Price is going to go up and price is going to go down. It's kind of a chop around the median. But the way you drew it, starting from the upper left box of the IDR and the lower IDR, that's perfect. So yeah, I think you drew it fine, and you're not gonna predict the where price is gonna stop. So you know, this is just fine. So LP, I think I answered that. Could you show how to combine time and retracement for the entry? Yes, we'll do it. But let me see if there are other questions. Kirky, I also have another one. Is it wrong to say if price retrace into the -2, -0.3 cluster, that is more likely to retrace even more into a price cluster with high probability? I wouldn't say that's necessarily. I would say, and let me pull up the image as well. Image. I would not say like if you see your chart and you see price dipping here, right? You're not saying, oh, it's more likely that it's going to end up here, because clearly there were times where price stopped here, right? Otherwise there would be no distribution. So the way I would look at it is price is not likely to go beyond this level, but it doesn't mean that he has to dip into this one, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But for me, it's like here you have a clearly defined stop level, which is one tick above 0.4. And while you're at it, you know, 0.5 is also a very important level. So why not put it one tick above 0.5? Like that's how I would use it. I wouldn't say if I dip into 0.2, 0.3, but I see a spike between 0.3 and 0.4, I wouldn't go and say, oh, actually, I'm gonna wait because it's gonna end up here. It's more likely to end up here. What is more likely is that it's not gonna end up here. That's how you're supposed to use it, right? So you use this as your stop placement if you're trying to anticipate an entry using retracement, which is what we do in frame one. And then you can combine this with time, right? Like if you're approaching time, you are within the time cluster, for example. So the rule for time based entry is you wait for the mode to end. At the end of the mode, you enter and you put your stop below the maximum retracement. But the mode in DR lens is made of 15 minutes, right? So it means you have 15 candles that could make that mode. So you need to be aware of when you are entering the mode, right? It could be the start of the 15-minute period. And if you see that you are at the start of the mode time and you're making a new low or a new high, whatever, which is a retracement, and the retracement ends up into this area, then you could combine time and price, saying actually the mode will be over in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. This looks like an important level. This is backed by my retracement distribution. I'm gonna enter here and put my stop above a close stop, and that's how you would combine time and price. And now that we also have the new drip and the weekly DR, hopefully there is something more that backs up the entry, so that allows you to enter with more confidence and say, yeah, I'm gonna anticipate my entry even if the time mode is not over yet. Maybe you are 5 minutes early or 10 minutes early, but you are in a suitable retracement area. Then that's how you combine the two. I hope it makes sense. Perfect. Good. What else? Let me see. So what I actually want to know is if yeah, I think I answered that. The other one. Okay, moving on. Runner effects. Hi guys, just joined the stream. I am somewhat struggling with backtesting. Would you be so kind and share your best tools and tactics, or refer to a recent DR live if there is one? Yes, I think there are a bunch of lives where we talked about backtesting, but I don't know if you guys saw the video for metrics in the MSC. Can anybody in the MSC confirm? So we started to beta test metrics, and we had a session with PhD students where M7 was showing how to backtest, how to enter the data on metrics. Let's twist. But you can start like without waiting for metrics. The best way is to start now and just do it with a piece of paper, right? So the first step in backtesting is the caveman mode, which was discussed yesterday during the stream as well. So you wait for the time mode to enter to end, and then you enter with the open of the next candle. And you put your stop below the maximum retracement, and you do it for 100 trades in the same instrument in the same day. And then you change the day. Well, I mean, you should have 100 trades in total backtesting. I don't know, like if you do it all for Mondays, then 100 days all on Mondays is gonna go back a couple of years. Um, but yeah, you should do it for one instrument for one direction for one day of the week, and that's how you start, and then repeat for another day of the week in another direction, and then you repeat for another day of the week until you're done. And once you're done, you go to the next instrument, and then you collect all your data, and you see how many hours you would have made just with a simple, stupid setup where you just wait for the time mode to finish. You enter. You don't need to think about where to put your stop. You know where to put your stop. It's clearly defined. You know when to enter. You know the target because just take the data from DLNs, and you just do it for hundreds of time, and you're going to start seeing patterns. You're going to start first you're going to convince yourself that this things works, that the simple stupid setup, just the simple stupid setup alone makes you a lot of hours. And then you're going to start seeing other patterns, as Twist was saying, that the more hours you spend in front of your chart, the more things you're going to learn.
What I just posted there is of the guy that's asked the question rather than waiting for metrics. That's a Google spreadsheet where it calculates and puts it into like a colourful dashboard, so you can put your time, the date, the instrument you took, whether it was short, whether it was long, your result in terms of your trade link view, your entry type, whether it was mode retracement, assume medium retracement, a weekly, an open, time over, etc., depending on what back test you do. It's all there. As soon as you fill all that in, it then displays it into like a nice little sort of back test journal dashboard for you. So you could use that. Just make a copy of that. You can. It's not my actual real version. So feel free to use it if you've not got anything that you use. You might have something, but it's just in case you don't, because I think Mege said write it on a piece of paper, which is fine. But I mean, it's like, this is slightly better.
I know, and I know, I know it's. But the reason why I said write on a piece of paper is you can even start. You don't need to wait for the tag, and if you are intimidated by the tag, like for example, there are people who see the spreadsheet, and then they ask, I don't know how to use it, can you make a video how to use this spreadsheet, right? And they get intimidated and they never start. I'm saying a piece of paper is better than doing nothing and wait
100%.
for someone to do it for you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's the first step. Everybody starts from something, right? That's the first building block.
Yeah.
You don't build a house overnight. You start with the first, how you call it, brick. The first brick, one brick at a time.
100%. 100%. Emilio's asked a good question. This is gold. This is gold today. Could you explain if there is any potential entry? Are we talking RDR, ODR, ADR? Are we talking the current session, for example, where it's confirmed short?
I think that's the current session.
So that's what we're asking. So I don't know whether you'd agree with this, Mege, but I mean, I can answer in terms of my stab at it and why I wouldn't have taken a short, even though it confirmed short. So what I can see there is a trumpet model forming in terms of the way that the models have been displayed. And we are potentially looking at taking the ODR lows out, which the ADR quite nicely did, and then retraced back up. So for me, what I would like to have seen there is either the formation of the RDR was either going to be looking at taking the previous RDR sessions high out, or the current low sell side liquidity, which it went to go and grab the low side first. So for me, I'm looking at that thinking, well, it's confirmed short. Yes, we have got our nice little drib indicator, which is nicely rejected off as well, which is a good point to use. But failing that aside, it's taken that sell side and it's now deciding it wants to go the other way, and that's my take on it, which is why I would never have entered a short on today's RDR, which had definitely saved me an hour on that, because looking at the time when time was over, I think it was around 11:10. I think off the top of my head, I've not got the data, but if you'd have taken that, yeah, you'd have potentially have maybe break even or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember what the time nodes were on that particular session, but
Let me check.
that certainly stopped me from taking a short on that. And it's almost like the same setup as what the live was yesterday to a degree for ES, in the way that price is moving and forming. So yeah, that's my take on it.
So the mode is 11, but so now we're talking a bit more advanced stuff, right? If we're strictly speaking, if we are to do mechanical time only trades,
Yep,
the mode finishes at 11, right?
yep.
So let me zoom in. Let's see what we would have gotten here today. So modes at
To
11,
10:55.
10:55, right?
Yeah,
Then you probably enter with this candle. So the 11 candle you enter, you put your stop here, right? And then you get stopped out pretty much immediately, right? So that's how you execute with the time only based. But obviously, that's the advanced stuff is not to make you more hours. Actually, it's about selecting the right trades, right? Because you start with a very easy mechanical entry, you do your back test, and you see that sometimes you're going to lose 3, 4, 5 times in a row, and that's fine. You're still making money. Then the next refinement is you go deep into your data. So hopefully you're collecting good data. You're collecting at what time was the confirmation. You're collecting, was there a trumpet model for the day? Was it upside expansion or a downside expansion? And then you go back to your data and you check. Okay, now I'm going to select all the times that I lost 1 hour in this stupid setup and check whether there are some things in common. And maybe you'll find out that if you have a trumpet model, you're more likely to get stopped out. That's something that you will find only if you do the work, right? Um, so that's two things, right? Obviously, you said the right things. I would also say this is a trumpet into a squeeze, right? Like this is a squeeze model, right? You
yep.
have a big RDR from yesterday, and then you have a range expansion forming. So, what should we expect next? What is a squeeze? A range contraction, right? So, you have a big box here, then you have smaller box inside the big box. So, what is the next? What are we expecting next?
Are you asking me, Meg? Or are they asking
No,
me?
I'm asking anybody
All
in the
right.
chat.
Okay. I'm
Let's
not. I'm
see.
not watching. I'm not watching the live. That's the thing. I'm not watching your screen,
Yeah,
so I don't. I don't know what it is you're drawing. I don't have the link.
but you should know it on top of your head, right?
Yeah, I should. Yeah. But it helps if I was listening to what you were asking as well.
Yes, LP expansion to one side. That's right. So we are expecting a big movement in one direction. I don't know if it's going to happen today because it looks like it's a very boring session. Um, but squeeze into range expansion, we should expect some sort of violent move at some point, either up or down. We don't know which one will be, but so far we're seeing that the price is now edging up higher and higher. And if we end up making a false session, then and price returns back here, and that could be. I'm not saying this is not trading advice, but I'm just saying this could be your confluence to then target this side because it's a range expansion. Sorry, it's a squeeze combined with a range expansion. So that's how you combine a few of the advanced stuff. But we'll see tomorrow what happens afterwards. But it's fun to watch this as it unfolds. But yeah, I can see the trumpet model here forming, and it's good if you notice that and save your R's. But see how precise it is to go up and down and then up and down and then, and then maybe next one will be up again.
Yesterday's DR live was helpful. Kind of feel overwhelmed taking the right trade. Yeah, I mean, Runner FX. How long have you been in the academy for? Hello.
Hello, guys. How long have you been in the academy for? Maybe
6 weeks.
there's
Yeah. So yesterday's bombshell. What we got shown was next level, right? So you're gonna feel overwhelmed with it, honestly, mate. I'm in it 6 months now, and I still feel overwhelmed. So it's natural to feel like that, but just don't deviate from lens. Don't deviate from what Mega is talking about regarding time and retracement for lens. This is all secondary stuff. The data has to be priority. So put that as first priority, and these are all confluences to execute the trade based on what the data is saying, right? These are not confluences to take the trade with no data. It's certainly not the reason for yesterday's video, but I totally get it. But it'll come. It'll come in time, and it's just there's a lot to take in. So if you're 3 weeks in and you've missed the first 6 months of the videos and you watched yesterday's live, if anything, fair play for watching it, because I'd have watched it and my head would have been bamboozled and I'd turned it off and thought, nah, this is not for me. I don't have a clue what he's talking about, but naturally you're going to feel like that. So if you are watching that live yesterday but not done any of the stuff prior to it, then the overwhelming factor is going to be is going to be there, buddy. So don't think about it. Oh, it's 6 weeks, so I said three. But even so, like a month and 2 weeks, it's not a great deal of time. But yeah, it's next level stuff, right? And this is the stuff I'm talking about. But you have to put the basics in practice first, because you can run a very, very, very scary risk of blowing your account if you're just going to take trades based on what was shown yesterday. But some of it's it's very good to watch, and especially when you're watching it in live. Like I've been at the charts since 7:45 this morning, and we're now 6 o'clock in UK, and I've not left my seat. Um, so yeah, I'm a little bit obsessive with this, but I love watching it. And you get to that stage where you can just see price moving against these levels. But honestly, that overwhelming feeling it'll never leave you, because he's constantly dropping stuff on us all the time, where you kind of think, does it get any better than this? Oh shit, yeah, it has done this week. And I'm sure there'll become a point, mate, where you'll already know what's next to come. And I think the next stage on our journey is going to be volume, and I think that'll blow our mind as well. So you're going to constantly feel that. But if you're only 6 weeks in, like, even more so. So don't get too tangled up with the new drib indicator, because it's a bit of a beast, but it can be a beast in the wrong hands. So just stick to data. Because trust me, that's literally all I've been doing recently is data trades, time, price, logic, market structure. I put all those things into play, and certainly now the drib indicator is even stronger for those added confluences, especially on, like, for example, oil this morning on the ODR. It was great. So you know take your time with it. Don't rush. It's not a race. You'll get there in your own time. The markets will be there in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Don't matter how long it takes you to get there, and that's how I see it. And I'm not advanced at this stuff. There's people in the academy that are a million times better than me at this, but um, I started to see things with a lot more clarity. So yes, that overwhelming feeling will be there for a while, but it does get better. Trust me.
Yes, Kiriki, it's quite hard to add all the new stuff. Yeah, it is. Especially the problem is that we don't have clearly defined cohorts of people. Like people can join at any time, but you have different level of experiences. Um, Within DR, within trading, we have people who have not traded much. We have people who have been trading for 10 years, 20 years. And then we have people who have been with us 6 months and have watched every single live session. And we have people who joined 2 to 3 weeks and only watched, few 2 or 3 lives. That's
Mm.
hard to keep each and every track separate because obviously we have the old people who have been around for a while and they're asking for more advanced stuff and they're probably ready for the more advanced stuff, but this stuff now gets shown to everybody and it can get quite overwhelming quite quickly.
Yeah, 100%. But it's that's also a reflection on the person that's doing it as well, right? Because like, if I start at the gym and I'd never stepped foot in the gym before, would I walk over to a squat rack and squat 200 kilos? No, I wouldn't. I'd build myself up to that. I'd start slowly and I'd go up to that level to aspire to get to that sort of
Yeah.
where I'm being able to get to pushing that sort of weight. So it's no different with this. It's exactly the same process. Yes, there will be people that are more advanced and are posting trades, and I get it, right? There's going to be fear of missing out. I totally understand. Like you get frustrated because you think, oh my god, these people are pulling 6, 7, 8, 10 hour in sessions. Why am I not at that level? That's where I want to get to. And the problem is you run the risk of rushing the process and not being ready to do that. And I certainly am. I admit that, in terms of my journey of where I was, because I was seeing that a lot. And I was getting frustrated with myself as well because I was seeing other people that were learning quicker than me and taking trades and thinking, why am I not seeing this? Why am I not taking these trades? Why are these people doing it and I can't see what it is they're doing? And sometimes it can become quite demoralizing. But eventually you got to persevere with it and you got to just keep on keeping your own lane, forget what everyone else is doing. It's almost like when you see horses on races when they've got the blinkers on. They have a blinkers on for the reason so they can't see either side, and that's exactly how you need to see it. You need to put your blinkers on so you can't see what's going on either side of the screen and what other people are doing, and you just stay and focus on you and concentrate on you. And as long as you're getting 1% better every day, it doesn't matter if someone else is pulling 20 hour and you've broke even on a trade or you've took 2 hour out the market. It doesn't matter. You got to focus on your performance and the hours will come. And a very good saying that Master gave ages ago to me on a one-to-one call we had was, forget the hours and the hours will come. And it's so true. As soon as you forget that, they start to come eventually because you focus more on what you are doing in your own performance and your own journey, and forget the noise and forget what everyone else is doing. And one of the main things that I had to do was I was part of a few Discord groups where people had created groups within the academy for accountability so we could all help each other. And if anything, it hindered me because I was getting more frustrated because these people were learning quicker than me. So I'd advise if you're that type of person and you get easily annoyed, not annoyed, but sort of frustrated and down because you're not doing what other people are, come off Discord, forget it. Just don't watch it. Whilst you're in the live markets, don't even have Discord open because sometimes that can influence your decisions on taking trades or not taking trades, and you question your own analysis and on what you're doing as a person based on what someone else is doing. But how do you know that that person and what they're saying is right and it's not just a load of baloney? You don't. So you can't go off what other people are saying. And so that's one thing that I've learned to come off. And I'll only ever be on Discord in the MSC chat once I'm either in a trade or I can't see a trade that I want to take. I'll never be eyeing up the markets and seeing what other people are doing and then basing my decision on what other people are doing. So as soon as I could detach from that, my trades got a lot better. And my learning got a lot better as well because I wasn't trying to compare myself to what other people are doing, because everyone learns at different rates and everyone learns at a different pace. And I'm one of those that's not academically Great. I'm really academically challenged. It was never a forte of mine to be, the best at school. I didn't enjoy college. I certainly never went to university. Academics were just definitely not something that I was interested in. So it's been tough for me learning this because it's almost like going back to school. So my point being with this is if I can do it and I can get to this stage after 6 months, that anybody can. Trust me, anybody can, and that's a promise. Anybody can do it. You've just got to have that mindset, I think, to believe that you can, and that's the only thing that will stop anyone from succeeding in this academy. It's just the mind, nothing else. The strategy works, the data works, the learning that we get taught works. Lewis and what he does, and how he develops Quantum Weaver, it works. The lens that Mega is doing works. Everything works. The only thing that will stop you is your mind, nothing else. So just embrace it and take your time and just enjoy it because it's fucking great. I love it.
What's that twist? Really, really.
Wait.
Oh no! How long has he been here?
Oh, for quite some time I'm listening. So now I know why my knees are so fucked up, because every time I wake up in the morning, I do this 200 kg squat. I think that's good for my cardiac health, right? But like, I'm crawling every day. Oh, enlightening to me. How are you doing, guys?
Very good.
Oh, good, yeah.
Having fun with the chat. And with
Amazing.
Twist.
Yeah, I
He's
heard.
being very kind to join me again.
So nice. Like it.
Yeah,
So everything you said is true. I mean, the point is, and I'm saying this, like I'm preaching this, literally preaching it. You have to get the basic foundation before anything else. without the basic foundation, and for us, DR trader, the basic foundation is starting with simple time entries, getting comfortable with having a losing streak, getting comfortable with the feelings we have when we lose and when we win. And once this is properly settled, then we can add the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, some are slower to recognize this and some are faster. That's just what it is, right? But I can tell you, I have not seen yet a student from day one doing everything perfect. And I think that's completely fine, because no matter how long it takes, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, it doesn't matter, because the opportunity will be always there, right? And once it clicked, it's hard to unclick it, right? So it's all good. It's all good.
It's very true. It is hard to unclick. It's hard, very hard. But it's a good hard, right? It's not a negative once it clicks. And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not clicked 100% for me. I'm not saying that I'm totally changed. It's impossible to do that within such a short period of time, but it's the progression that is more for me, and bettering how I am every day or every week, and that's what I measure it on. It's not, am I pulling 50R in the week? No, it's, am I better than I was last week in my mind? Am I better than I was last week in my performance and taking trades? Am I better this week than I was re-engineering last week? Yes. If the answer is yes to everything, great. Everything else is, in terms of the R-wise, is secondary. And, you taught me that lesson very early on. And it's important that, because you chase the money, you'll fail. 100%. 100% you will, if I just fail. You gotta put everything else before that, and the rest will come.
The problem is not that the chasing the money is not necessarily the problem. The problem is defining if you're good or bad based on whatever the monetary outcome is, right?
Yeah.
It's all about that. It's the understanding that we have little influence what the market is doing, right? So all what we have in our hands is how much preparation I have getting into the session. How clear is my understanding of the data? Do I find the right entry? Was it a good entry, right? have I been calm and collected and really analytic while I was doing my trades? And that's things we can influence, right? How the market at the end of the day, if it goes up or down, similar, that's not in our hands, right? It's just not in our hands. It's not even in my hands, in nobody's hand, right? So all we can do is using the technology and the strategic approach what we are having and the data to do the best as we can do, right? And then over the long run, it's unavoidable. You are doomed to make profit, and that's the whole point. But it's so mental. Today I had a one-on-one with a PhD member who was very successful, just sold has his company for multi-millions, right? And you know, when you understand that you can't rush it, right? And when, like, for him, money is not the driving motivator. So I was asking him, okay, so what is motivating you? And he's like, I want to get as good as I have been over the last 15 years with my company, right? So he understands that it is a process, right? He understands that he can't expect, even though, like, I don't know, he's like 30 hour up, but it doesn't matter to him. And he's trading a quite good account already. But he's so much obsessed with like he's getting obsessed and upset with himself when he's like, he was talking to me and saying like, like I lack the motivation. I do the back test in detail and all of this stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm not feeling motivated anymore, and then I stop and I say, calm down. I mean, you worked 15 years off, right? Now you finally have, and that was a big process selling his company with all of this stuff. Now you finally have time. Be a little bit nice to yourself, right? Give yourself a little bit time. You don't have to rush anything, right? But he was no, but like this obsessiveness about getting better every day. It's so key, right? And if you look at everyone you ever admired, you will most likely find this trait, being obsessive about themselves. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, any top performance human being in the world is not obsessed with the fact to be the best. They are not obsessed with making a lot of money. They are not obsessed with anything external. They are obsessed to deliver the best possible what they can do each and every single day, right? And once you understand that, things will get like, I mean, Twist can sing a song about that, right? Once you shift your mindset to that, right? It's like magic is happening. It's like literally the hours are coming. You see things you have not seen before. You actually find yourself on the other side of the river, right?
Mm.
But the patience also to understand this is a process which is not happening overnight. And Twist is saying, and he's right. He's saying he's not at the end of the journey. But like, if you listen to his words, right, what he said, I know I'm not like completely transformed because it's the time. But like, then in the second he's saying, yeah, but like I'm trying to get every day better, and that's like compounding effect on money, right? The longer you do this, every day you're getting better. It's not 1%. Like after a year, it's you literally increase your skill set by 400-500%, right? Because it's compounding. Every day a little bit makes you huge, right? And that's the whole success story about Kobe, about all these guys, right? Because they were obsessed with getting better, not being the Hall of Fame player, not being something like that. They were like, no, they want to be the best possible version for themselves. And then everything goes away because you don't care about the guy who's making 20 hours. You don't care about this guy who's playing, who's shooting more goals right now for you because you're so super focused on yourself. And the result will just come automatically, right?
Yeah, that's true, 100%. And I can advocate that. Like today, for example, I took a 6B setup today on the RDR. It didn't pan out, but my performance was there. Everything and the rationale of why I took the trade was 10. Entry was 10. Stop loss was 10. Preparation was 10. Everything was right across the board. price just didn't want to do what it wanted to do. It went down to 2R, stopped me out at break even. So what? We'll move on to the next day. Whereas normally I'd have looked at that, and been pissed off with it, because I'd have been, once upon a time, why has it happened to me again? Why is this always? It's almost like I put a trade on and the market knows what I'm doing, and then it's deciding to go the opposite way, and then it'll stop me out and then go to my target. That's the mentality that I had. But the problem with that is you constantly feed your brain that scenario, that's what happens every time you put a trade on. You start to believe it. And that's the danger. If you start to believe that it affects your confidence, then what happens is it's then a domino effect, because then you don't put trades on. You stop seeing A plus setups. You stop seeing the things that are basic, and it can really, really cause you problems. So the great thing that you said when you came in is doing time only mechanical back testing, because what that does is it gives you trust in the process, it gives you trust in the data. And as much as you're not going to be doing that forever in terms of just taking what we call monkey trades forever, it's a good starting point, because it gives you that solid foundation of trust in the process and trust in the strategy that you're being taught. And it's such a key element to moving forward, because I did back test after back test after back test of time only trades, and there was time periods where you'd go through a losing streak, and in a live situation, if you hadn't have back tested that, it would demoralize you, and you've been demotivated, and you think, oh my god, I'm shit and I can't do it. But effectively, by doing the back testing and doing that basic stuff, you know that over a long period of time you are going to be profitable. So then when you get into a live situation where you are in a losing streak, it doesn't bother you, because you know that if you keep to the basics, keep to your strategy, keep to what you're doing, the rest will follow, and it gives you that foundation. It's so important, because without that level of trust, not only in yourself but in the data, you're not going to do what you need to do when you're in a life situation. And like I said, that today would have affected me, but I'm not bothered, because I saw it and I saw what I needed to do, and it was just like it just clicked, and I just didn't think about it, and I just pressed the button, and the market just didn't want to do what it wanted to do. It decided it wanted to do the opposite, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. There'll be tomorrow, and there'll be Friday, and there'll be Monday and Tuesday, and however many weeks left I've got to do this. So yeah, that's the kind of mentality that you've got to have. But one good thing I do want to mention is there is a new Netflix program called The Redeem Team that's on Netflix at the moment, and it focuses on the 2018 Olympic basketball team for America. So it's got LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard. It's got best NBA players, but what it focuses on is how that team had to drop their ego and had to focus on performance rather than self-sabotage by becoming a one-man band and being the best that they had to be by themselves. It was about how they had to form a relationship as a team and focus on performance. And it interviews with these great players, like Kobe's there, where it interviews him, and Dwayne Wade. And it's really good from an outsider's perspective, even if you don't like basketball, to see how these professionals and why mindset is so important in the professional sports world as well. And it's fascinating to watch. So it's called The Redeem Team, and it's on Netflix now, and it's honestly, it's worth a watch. It's great. So that's something I'd recommend putting on your watch list.
Excellent. I think we had a great session again today. Thank you, Tris, for joining us. Thank you, Masters, for joining us. Big little surprise for everybody.
Anytime. He's sneaky. He's sneaky as M7. Sneaky. But that's the link to it. So if you just want to watch the trailer on it, then but yeah, I highly recommend it. There's quite a lot on there at the moment, to be fair. There's, I think Conor McGregor's Notorious is on there at start, so he had absolutely nothing but other than faith in himself. There's I think there's a documentary on Neymar Jr. The Last Dance is a great one where Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls basket. These are just things that you should be watching rather than watching crap on Netflix. If you are to watch Netflix, honestly, get watching these because they're great. And there's loads of them. There's loads of them on there. There's a new NFL one called Quarterback, which is following, I think, Patrick Mahomes. It's a quarterback for the NFL. Fuck it, these guys are insane, and the stuff they do for their mindset and to prep to be the best that they can be every single day, and not necessarily just on the outcome of the day, but the performance that they give. It's just insane to watch, and you can relate to it when you're doing this. And that's as silly as it sounds, but you can. So there's quite a lot of stuff on there at the moment. I do recommend watching it.
Thank you, guys. And Gen X, I remember you were asking about the ask down explanation. So I know you're driving today, but if you scroll up, there are links or name of the sessions where that was discussed. So I recommend when you can, just scroll up in the chat and you'll find them. Actually, let me do it for you. I'll paste them here.
Just before I do go, is Vegas Dream still in the chat? Because they asked me a question, can you go over entry confirmations, which I'm not quite sure what that means. If you could just elaborate. Might not be something now if people want to go or Mega wants to go, but I can certainly go through it with you at a later point, unless it's quick.
Which one was it? Sorry.
Vegas Dream, can you go over entry confirmations? I'm not quite sure what it means.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
So look at that, Mega. We were right on gold.
Yes, look at that.
She's taken that out, and now she's going for the top side of the RDR. That'd have been a lovely trade. But
Are we still live?
We trade against confirmation. It's not right. It's not what we teach people. So,
Exactly.
Sorry.
Is it still live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still live, but wrapping up, guys.
I can't give away the secrets, as I understand.
Yeah, you need to wait for 2 minutes until we switch off the stream. Nobody's gonna FOMO, trust me. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next week, and actually see you tomorrow during the live. Bye-bye.